Hi guys, well this is a little progress update on Atari VCS Space Invaders for the Commodore 64. So I've done a little bit of work, not masses. What I've done is probably just like a few hours over a few days, but you can see since the last preview we've got invaders moving back and forth across the screen. And they're just plotted randomly at the moment, the invaders. They're not the exact matrix of what they normally would be, but yeah, so it's just all different random invaders in the 6x6 matrix that the game uses. I've taken a few decisions on how I'm going to tackle things like the shields, and I think maybe the bullets, which are going to be fired by both players and the invaders. I'm not 100% on the bullet thing, but the shields now, I've ditched them being sprites and moved them into characters. I think it'll probably be better when dealing with the invaders as they descend down the screen towards the actual the base, the ground. So I think, yeah, it just probably eliminates another layer of complexity with another IRQ. I'm going to have to manipulate the raster bars down the side. You can see there, that's just the multiplexing basically of these sprites. So we got still quite a few sprites on the screen. We've got 36 there. We've got 8 up in the top border for the for scores. We did have the limiters in the border, but I've ditched that now. They're now characters as well, so that saves again another IQ, because we're getting close to obviously the vertical border split, and it just gives a little bit more raster time to do a few things down here. So and it'll probably be coming in handy that for when we get the shields moving across the screen, and then you got the character collision detection and stuff like that. So the shields moving will be an interesting one, because obviously we've got to move this. We're going to be scrolling character data here, and then we're probably going to do some sort of block copy as we move it across a little bit, and then it will go so far, and then they'll move back. I forget how far. They don't move that far, the shields. I think they probably extend if it probably goes just beyond the limiter, and then same on that side. But we'll see how we go. The tricky bit will be obviously with when the bullets hit it, and if you're moving it still. So you don't want to be scrolling a bullet, so you'll have to move a shield, print the bullet separately. If it obviously comes into a hit zone, then it's going to eliminate part of the shield, but then obviously that bullet will have to be removed from the display. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be tricky. But for bullets, I don't. So for the player bullets are always just a vertical. There's no left or right movement on them like the invaders can on some of the levels. They can stagger. So because you have like moving zigzag bullets or whatever they call it, and then you can have invisible ones, I think, as well, maybe on one of the levels later on. There's a lot of variations, so all that's got to be thought about. Really, I've got to think about that, how I'm going to do everything. But I'm thinking the zigzagging can be done within a character itself. Probably just get some like randomized like sign pattern or something, and then rotate it through a couple of bullets, and then they're the block copied down to the bottom of the screen. I think it probably will work. The UFO will obviously come in at the top when the score disappears, and essentially I've worked out the Y position increments for the invaders on each time they drop down a row. I started at the bottom and worked my way backwards, so I've got all the positions stored now, and I think it's probably easier rather than just you add on 10 to over or 20 or whatever, however many pixels it would be for each position. You just tabulize it, and then you just copy in a load of tabulized values, which is a hell of a lot quicker than doing any calculations. So it's all pre-calculated. It's much faster. What else has been going on? So yeah, the colours are a close approximation. Some people on NTSC systems don't have a white player 2. They have like an orange colour or something like that. Is it a mix of yellowy orange? And you might see that in a few YouTube videos. The idea is to get it as close to the UK PAL version, which I played. So the base, the ground base was green, but we don't have a dark green. So I was employing some colour mixing on this base. It's brown at the moment, and I was flicking between brown and grey, dark grey, which looks okay. It gave a different shade, but it's a bit flickery. So I don't know whether I have to put some like a pixelated character in there and alternate that maybe to get the blend correctly or not. We'll see. Anyway, this is just something else for the future, but I think brown's okay for now. It could be grey, because I think some versions as well of the game have a grey base rather than a green one. Really does depend on the actual version of the cartridge you got and the version of the console, so whether you're PAL or NTSC. But yeah, it's progressing. We've got player movement in there. We got the tanks moving left and right on both players. That's fine. There's no, like I said, there's no fire routines in yet or anything like that. No sound. We've got some keyboard mapping in for the switches. If you're familiar with the Atari VCS, it'll be like the early versions are like the heavy 6 or the light 6, which had the 6 switches on the front of the actual console. So they'll be mapped to like the keys, like the number keys. So on the top row you'll have like the 1, 2 and 3 will be mapped as the power, and then it'll be the color black and white on 2. On 3 will be the left difficulty, and we press that now. We've got that in there, so that's just the X difficulty, which is the expanded tank on this game. And 7 is the one for the player 2, right difficulty, and then 8 will be game select and game reset will be on 9. I might include a pause mode as well, which is an additional, and I might even do some additional different graphics for the invaders and all the tanks and stuff, like a monochrome version if you wanted a monochrome look to it. But I'm putting in the black and white mode and the power on and off trick. Maybe I'll just, because I wrote a version of this game several years ago in JavaScript and I emulated like the power on and off. So that was a fun little neat trick. So we could possibly do that with expanded sprites across the entire screen, or maybe a character's pattern to simulate that CRT off and on thing. So I don't know. It's like I say, it's got the basics there. I ruled out character mode for the invaders. That was just a no-go because you couldn't get the distancing right between the invaders. Now, it's not exact to the 2600. The trouble is the invaders are 10 pixels high, which doesn't work well when you've got 21 pixel high sprites on the 64. So you've got a gap, unfortunately. I think there was about 8 pixels on the VCS between the invaders, something like that. Now you can do something called sprite crunching, which eliminates rows of a sprite and compress them even more. A lot of demo coders do this. They do it when they're showing off using like 100 odd sprites on screen, stuff like that. But for this game, I thought, is it worth it really? And I'm not going to go into all that. I don't think. I've seen some code for it, but I don't think I'll bother. I'll just go with it how it is. If it looks the part near enough, then that'll probably do. Obviously, there's a lot of complexity still, obviously, to getting all once you eliminate the entire bottom row of invaders, then you eliminate the IRQ basically for multiplex. So that's got to be clever little routine just to do all that. And then obviously you've got all your normal calculations, like if you eliminate a column, then the invaders will obviously move to that. That'll be the limit, and then so on and so forth. Where you get rid of the invaders, the limits will change as you get up to the edges of the screen, or whatever the boundary for the invaders themselves. There's a lot into it, and I saw that when I revisited my JavaScript code recently for the JavaScript version I wrote. There's a lot more to Space Invaders than you would think. You think, oh, it's a dead easy game, but it's quite a lot involved. There's quite a lot of work that goes in to a game like Space Invaders. I know other people have written completely sprite only versions on the 64, which, hats off to them, well done, because it's not easy by any stretch. But I'm going down the way I'm going, the route I'm going. I think it'll just be a matter of time until we see what it looks like. It's like I've no idea how close I can get it to the original, but the idea is to get all those 112 game variations in there, and maybe the Easter egg with the double bullet as well for the for the player. That would be funny to have, but I think we definitely got something. I think we could definitely do this. So the other option as well would be, if you were writing this game, you could use bitmap mode and everything as bitmap mode, high res bitmap mode, or something like that, or even multicolor bitmap mode. But I think high res probably would probably be, I don't know, would it be better or not? I'm thinking of color clash in my head, but I don't know if it would be an issue or not. But yeah, it's you still got to open up the top border for the UFO, and then your bullet would have to switch between whatever you're using. You would have to use then sprite bullets for the player, because it would have to go up and hit the UFO, whereas the invaders are only dropping out on the actual screen itself, so they could be bitmap. But yeah, there's lots of different options when you're writing a game like this. It's entirely personal choice. There's no right and wrong way. I don't think so. Yeah. Brief, like I say, overview so far where I'm going with it. It's looking reasonable. I'll probably no doubt make some progress over the coming weeks or months, or whenever I get a chance to do it anymore on this game. Like I say, it is only a side project, so I'm not expecting it to be done like this time next month. But yeah, I definitely want to get this done. So once I've got my head around getting rid of the zones and stuff, then that'll be probably, I'll probably be halfway there then. So I think that's probably going to be the difficult bit, and then all the bullet routines in, and the moving shield and stuff, and then after that I think it's just variations then all the way through the game to the end. So yeah, the original game was written in 4K as well on the Atari by Richard Marr. It's probably way over 4K already, I would think, but we're not bothered about that. We've got plenty of RAM available to us for doing stuff. So and then there's all the sound and stuff to go in as well to make it sound exactly like the VCS, which we should be able to do with a SID chip. So yeah, so there we go. It's just, like I say, a brief look at this, how I'm getting on with it. It's yeah, comments and thoughts as always. You might have ideas where I can do things even better. I don't know. Like hearing your comments and reading your comments and stuff. So yeah, I'll probably see you in another video with another update on this one. I think it's going to be a good few months before it's probably finished, but yeah, I think it's going okay. It looks okay. It's there's a lot of VCS games been converted in the past, like Frostbite and Keystone Capers and all them. So I think another one into the mix will probably be a good thing for 64. And I might probably put a title screen in there as well. Not traditional, obviously, to this VCS version, but I think I think a title screen, even maybe a title tune with it as well. Could go up with a title tune for it, and then some options and maybe high scores, because we don't have any high scores, do we, on the original? So I think you can get to 9995, and then it wraps around the score on the VCS. So yeah, we could add all that in. That wouldn't be a problem. So yeah, that's all for the future anyway. So this has been, just like I said, preview 3 of this, where I am. So I'll probably see you in preview 4 of this. Okay, thanks guys, see you again.